Hi everyone, it's Marie here from Peartree Cutfiles, and I'm back today with a 12x12 process video from the Mixed Media Frenzy YouTube hop. This hop happens every month on a Friday, on the last Friday of the month, and that's the layout that you've just seen there that I've used to, that we're all scrap lifting this month. And I am playing with the Build a Star cut file from Peartree Cutfiles and this stencil. Now this is our completely dotty stencil, and it's available in 6x6, 8x8, 12x12. I'm using the 6x6 one. I just like little things, so I do genuinely prefer the 6x6s, but they do make it a little bit harder to put extra bits in because you end up putting things on top. Now I've used Ranger texture paste there. It is a clear, it dries translucent, so it's completely see-through when it's finished. And I've used that to create sort of the background for my colours here, because I wanted to, obviously I'm going to put the rainbow colours on like the original, but I wanted something poking through those colours. And I know this texture paste, it dries like a resist, so the paint doesn't dry as easily on top of that. It dries around it, and those like little, because I've used the completely dotty stencil, they'll dry like little bubbles and the paint will go around them and you'll see them coming through. So I really wanted it to look like that. So I'm using Ecoline watercolour inks here. These are amazing and they're so bright, they're so vibrant. You can obviously water them down if you want to. I don't tend to water them down. I am using small amounts of water here to help the paint move around, and I have put a layer of gesso on this foundations page before I start. So this is the Basil Marshmallow paper. It's really thick paper. You can see it has curled slightly, but it's got that gesso on there, so the paint doesn't dry immediately and I can move it around. It doesn't soak in. I can move it around and play with it a little bit. So what I've done here, what I definitely wanted, I knew what I wanted here, was that the colours didn't mix too much together. So I've done the first sort of 5 colours, leaving a gap, and then in a moment you'll see me come back and fill in the spaces. The other reason I like this effect is because you then get an edge of paint where the paint has dried and it's just slightly darker, and I love that effect where it's got those kind of edges and it just gives different shades and things. So I'm just literally going back in now and filling in extra bits of colour, putting fake little sort of drips on there at the bottom. So I just want this range of colour running across my page. Now I didn't realise before I started my 2 greens are very similar in colour. They are different, but they're quite similar. I didn't realise how similar till I put them next to each other. So I'm actually cheating a little bit on my rainbow. I've put some extra colours in there. I've got a turquoise, I've got 2 greens, and I've got 2 blues. I think this is another blue. Yes, some dark blue going in here. So I do cheat a little bit, but you know, you're allowed to, aren't you? Artistic license and all that with my rainbow. So like as you can see, I've done the sections themselves, and then I've also done splatter to the top and bottom. Now I do keep coming back to this as it dries. I have to leave it to dry. I do keep coming back to it as it is drying, and just dabbing up any areas where the paint mixes. And there's the finished product. You can see how what I did with that clear texture, that translucent texture paste before I started the paint has really popped through and just given that extra sense of texture in the background. I'm now playing around with the Build a Star cut file. Now this I've cut in black obviously, and I've also cut in lots of different sizes, so you can cut them all the same just as the file comes, but I separated them all into separate bits and then decided to do them all different sizes. I did need them quite a bit smaller because of the nature of the layout. I have 3 pictures there of my son playing a game called Beasts of Balance, which is like an interactive with your iPad game, and you have to stack all these plastic creatures, and they're really difficult to stack. There's some really silly shapes. You have to try and stack them on top of each other. And he absolutely loves it. And I just caught the moment when he'd stacked loads and loads and loads, and then it all fell over. And his face is just an absolute picture. The other thing I did to my photographs was I used an app called Colourpop, which turns the whole of your photograph black and white, and then you go back in with your finger and you kind of pick out the areas that you want to be in colour. So I was able to do that for the board that's on the table and the creatures that he's playing with, and also the astronaut that's on his t-shirt, but I kind of got rid of the rest of the colour in the room just to make those colours pop, because they're very rainbow coloured, just like the layout. So I'm using lots of lovely Elle Studio products here. I buy the monthly kit from them and the extras as well. And so I'm just picking out embellishments here that are tone on tone. So I've got some phrase stickers, I've got some other stars, and that's my little title there that you can see that I've placed on favourite photo. Now I realise that that's not the English way of spelling favourite. It really doesn't bother me too much that it's not quite the right spelling, because I still use things like when we get the word colour and the word favourite, it doesn't bother me too much. I just use them anyway. So lots of lovely tone on tone embellishments going on, and then I'm just flicking through some of the paper pads that I've got from Elle Studio as well, because I do want to put some colour behind the photographs. And again, what I'm going to do here is use that lovely black cross paper there to mat the photograph first, and then I'm going to use a tone on tone coloured paper to put behind that, so it really does all kind of work together beautifully. So I've got a lovely turquoisey one here, and then a dark blue one for the largest photograph. So again, I'm just putting them all on that white first, because I want something to help them pop out from the background, because I am conscious that the background is very, very bright, very, very colourful, and I don't want my photographs to kind of disappear into that. I am distressing all the edges of my bits of paper now, because I love a distressed edge. I just think it adds that extra little bit of texture. And yeah, so just popping around with my scissors. I have got a distressing tool. I don't like it. It bugs me, because it with my scissors I feel like I can get a really nice edge. I don't even open my scissors, I just use the outer edge of them. But with my distressing tool, it tends to go fluffier, and I get little bits everywhere which annoy me, so I don't use that. So I've popped some foam on the back of my photographs just to pop them up again off the background, give a little bit more dimension. Also helps them stick, because my background is very textured, it's very mixed media-y, and it's therefore a bit wobbly. I want to make sure that they stick really well, and don't kind of come off, pop off, whatever. They're all just there. And stuck on beautifully. So I've done a little cascade of stars there, as you can see. They're little acetate stickers, the ones that are kind of dropping off the bottom of the page there. They are Elle Studio as well. They're little acetate ones. They're fabulous little stars. They do a whole rainbow of colour of those, and they do hearts as well, but obviously using just stars on this particular layout. So just dotting on some glue onto the cut file pieces, and also onto the stickers that I've popped on. They are stickers, they will stick, but again, because my background is so textured, I want to just make sure everything sticks. So I'm just adding extra little bits of glue as well. Then I found these dots from Shimmers, I believe. I got them as a prize, I think from Go Go Getaway. So just decided to pop those on, and I just loved the brightness that they added, because they're white. They match in with the black perfectly. But the brightness they added was great. And I'm just popping some little cork stars on here from Peartree Pieces. So I've used lots of Peartree products on this one today. And I'm just popping those on there. And then I've got my white Liquitex acrylic ink, and I'm just doing some splatters, again, just to break up a little bit of that colour. Because it is, like I say, as you can see, it's so very, very vibrant. I love how this turned out, and I love how bright it is, and I love that photograph of my son as well. So I'm really, really pleased with this. Feel free to play along and hop on over to the Mixed Media Frenzy group. I'll pop the link in the description box below, along with all the other links to the channels of the ladies who've taken part in this month's hop. Thank you ever so much for joining me today, and I will see you again soon.